day, the friction of the day, the hello.
The friction of the day, yes.
Yeah, well, it's not coming into my ear, but that's okay, because I guess everything's okay.
Yes, everything
you know
is
what?
fine.
I bet you it's this. I bet you it's our high-tech.
Our high-tech wire.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's playing. No, I can't hear myself. As long as you can hear me, that's fine.
I can hear you fine.
It went off. I hear you.
You hear me, I hear you.
Okay, on the 10th of February, 2015, Tuesday, 5 minutes after 4 o'clock, actually just about 6 minutes after, second day. This is the second day in our new studio. And a little rough yesterday, a little growing pains. We had our friend Claude, Convention of the States, very good subject. Old friend of mine from years gone.
Hi, everybody.
What is
Hi.
that?
That's me. Hey.
Man, look at that. Let me see that again. Show the folks that. There's a thing on here.
Yeah, that's our new studio.
Oh,
hey,
look at that.
how are we doing? Hey.
That's not done yet.
It's not done. We still got more stuff to fill up over here and wires to connect over there and videos and monitors and all kinds of other stuff hooked up.
Just raise my volume a little bit. Other person, move out of the window.
Move out of the shot.
Yeah.
You want your volume up a little bit?
Yeah. Give me a little more volume. Maybe that's it.
Okay. You better?
No. Oh, here we go. Now I can hear myself. Okay. All right. Well, we have. We're going to show you a little bit on our studio. It's really not the new studio yet. We're really using the old set. We're in the new building, but the old set. We're going to bring probably a week from today, next week, Monday or Tuesday, probably around the 17th or so, we're going to launch our new set that's being built.
Yes.
So we're in a new building. We're building a new set, a particular set for enemies of the state, and we'll launch that next week. So for all of you that listen to us on the radio on WSBR 740 AM, that's great, but go home in the evening, put on your Direct TV, go to, I think it's Other. What is it on the Direct TV?
I don't know. I can find it out.
Extra. I think it's Extra. Yeah, we have our
I
Direct
could
TV.
actually go to the Direct TV right now and show you how to do it manually.
Probably could, but we won't do that right now because we have painters in there.
No, we just do it on the Direct to show you the Direct TV how to do it.
Oh, that would be pretty good. We'll show you that. We'll give you a lesson on how to watch us on DirecTV. Anyone that has DirecTV hooked up to the internet, and if you have DirecTV at this stage of the game, you ought to be hooked up to the internet. You can go to, I think it's called Extras, go find YouTube, find our site, and you can watch our show on HD, in full living color. You can watch it on theunitedwest.org, and you can watch it on teapartycommunity.com. teapartycommunity.com. Oh, there. That's
why, because you have the mic like
that could have been the problem.
Yeah, you had the old Claude problem.
No, I had the Claude problem. Or as somebody said, Claude, the Claude problem. All right, now we're back.
Well, here, I can actually show you here on how to do it because of our new fancy dancy studio.
Hold that for a second because they probably want to know what we're doing today. We are taking a look at our illustrious president. And we've been monitoring the situation over the past couple of days. I think it was the 5th was the prayer, the National Day of Prayer, the breakfast, that I actually went to when Ronald Reagan was the president. I was in the audience at one of his prayer breakfasts. And I was a little guy running around eating waffles or whatever. And the president made a couple of very interesting statements that we're going to take a look at. And as you know, we are no friend of Mr. Obama. In fact, we classify him as an ideological. Now, here's where we need, Mark, in our new world.
What?
Enemies of the state.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, we need something like that.
We can do that.
Sound effects. Usually we have a human sound effect machine, but where is he today?
Man down.
Man down.
Yeah.
Many men down.
Yes, he did.
We have an imam down. We have a Jewish guy down. We have an Italian guy down. We got Damon
Schmucky's down. The whole crew's down.
Yeah, all the little people that float around in Damon's head are all down because he is ill right now. He's not doing well. So we're looking forward to him coming back. And then we're adding a third person. Right now, if we were all flying on a major airliner like a 777 across the ocean, here's how many pilots we have. Take a look in the cabin.
Talk about me?
Yeah, take a look in the cabin at our staff.
Our solo pilot.
There it is. We got one pilot flying this thing.
One pilot.
And we need
one
at
pilot
least
painting
two.
back in the background.
When we're back next week up to full speed, there'll be another person on either side of Mark, two producers.
Here, I got to show you something. I got to show you guys something. We are so new. We don't even have a window.
Don't even have
here.
windows in yet. And there'll be producers on either side. Many of you are following, our new facility and all of this. It's very cool. And one producer will be handling guests. One will be handling what we call B-roll. What's the etymology of B-roll? The background. Where did that come from?
I imagine it came because you had A roll, which was the primary role, and then B roll was the
Sounds
secondary.
good to me.
I'm guessing.
Sounds good to me. But that's where we're headed, and we are commercial free. No commercials. We would like to have we'd like to have people paying us to push their junk and sell whatever stuff they want us to sell, because we're firm believers in whatever you have. And
Looks like our crew forgot to turn off their phone. Right?
the paint crew forgot to turn off the phones.
Temporary
But we are commercial free, which means we buy the time, and then we produce a show, put it out for your edification and education and entertainment. Therefore, all we ask of you, and we have thousands of viewers and listeners, both on the radio side, because we simulcast this television show on the radio. If you can give, $10 a month, but I keep going in and out. Are you doing that to me?
No, you're doing it to yourself.
I'm doing it to myself. High-tech equipment. If you can give $10, $20 a month. I listen to Ahmed Badir.
He's good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's pretty good. Pretty good.
We need to do a fundraiser drive. We should do a competition between Ahmed Badir and us as far as a fundraiser is concerned. He raised, what was it, 5 or 6,000?
I didn't listen to the whole thing yet.
Yeah,
I'm still listening. But
6,000.
that's jihadi money to go fight wars at different places.
Yeah, no, but that's going right to his little studio, his little radio station.
We've been in there. Remember, we were over there in that station. So in any event, we're commercial free. But we do ask for your donations. We are a nonprofit organization, which means you can write a check and you can deduct the amount you donate from your tax obligation for that particular calendar year. And if you indeed tomorrow, on the 11th of February, win the $450 million jackpot, the Powerball jackpot.
That's tomorrow?
Hey. Let us get a little taste of that. We don't need a whole lot. 2, 3, 4, 5 units. A unit is 10 million. 2 or 3 units are more than enough to endow us. We'll be in business for quite a while. But our goal today is take a look at President Obama from several different angles as a commander-in-chief and as an individual who presents himself as a Christian. We believe he fails on that. He fails as the CIC commander-in-chief. And he fails on truly understanding the national security environment in which the world is finding it safe right now. Now, here's what's tricky, because the guy's not a dummy. He's a very, very smart guy. So there is, do you hear me going in and out?
Do you
hear?
Talking.
If you hear it, okay.
No, I'm fine. Everything's fine.
And then
it's that stupid connection. We got to fix that.
Connection. You mean the connection with masking tape on it in our brand new studios?
Hey,
did I say we needed donations, folks? Look at this. That's
hey, we take $1 and make it into 10.
Masking tape.
Yeah.
The way I hear what's going on, this is what we have right here.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to blast ahead.
Just go ahead. You're fine.
We found this past week, we watched very, very closely, President Obama had presented himself in a variety of venues. One in particular we're looking at is the prayer breakfast. We're going to show you a little video in a little bit. But first we want to go to another environment that the president found himself in, and that one was actually in a very comfortable place, his own White House. What he did last week, he reached out to have about a dozen folks meet him to discuss national security issues, in particular, to discuss the wars that are going on around the country, around the world, and in particular to discuss how do I say Muslim wars without including Muslims? The wars that some people who have hijacked Islam are participating in. And if you had to add up all the wars going on in the world right now, the majority of the 30 or 40 wars have a Muslim component to them, either Muslims fighting somebody else or Muslims fighting themselves. Now, it has nothing to do with Islam. We know.
No.
But that's the kind of situation we find ourselves in.
No Islam whatsoever.
So you gotta, I even drive, and I know this stuff pretty well, and I go, is the president just a dummy when he says these things, or is he a brilliant propagandist, disassembling and diverting intelligent Americans from the fact of what he's saying, or is it a little bit of both? And I think we have to say that the president is not a dumb person.
No.
He's not a dumb person. Is he a brilliant person? No, he's not a brilliant person. He is, and I'm basing this on many years of studying Mr. Obama as an individual, studying his upbringing, studying his academic background, studying the lack of strong men in the early years of his life, having strong women in his life, and then when the men finally re-entered his life, they were freakazoid, sex maniacs, communists, or hardcore jihadis, or Black Panthers. And when you have a 10-year-old kid that has this mixture of all these bizarre personalities, and this you find in his two books, The Audacity of Hope and Dreams from My Father. You look at his two books, and you can see his very, very bizarre, very destabilized childhood, and you say, okay, he got through that, he got to a couple of schools, he earned a law degree, and even if they push you through, you gotta do something. So he has some intelligence, but early on he took instructions from others. Point number one, big idea today, President Obama is more comfortable taking instructions from others. Why do you think he's so comfortable looking at a teleprompter?
Right.
It's someone else's writing. He's taking that instruction. And I'm going to point out to you in a little while, we're going to watch him in a very short clip from the prayer breakfast this past week. And I'll show you some body language. I'm not real big on body language. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they're going, oh, well, you can find out a lot about body language. And they had this person on Fox who can tell, a guy goes like this. He touches his eye. Oh, he had cereal for breakfast, and he really wanted eggs,
Yeah, there's a whole series on that.
I know, it's crazy. I said, this is body language. If somebody's doing this, they're mad. That's
right.
Easy. I'm going to show you body language with President Obama. He's so uncomfortable in talking about elements of Christianity in the crusade. You can see it. Somebody wrote it on the prompter. He's reading it, and he proves what's on the prompter. So this is his, but it really wasn't. We'll show you that a little later.
But I do want to accentuate one of your points, though, and you made me think, Tom, which was...
Oh, is that him praying behind us?
Yes, that's him praying behind us.
Oh, who's he praying to?
Well, we don't know.
We'll find out before the show is over. Yes,
but anyway, the point that I wanted to accentuate, when you started talking about women in his life, and if you notice, every person that is around him in a position of, power, especially Valerie Jarrett, you look at the State Department and you look at all the other...
Susan Rice, Valerie Jarrett,
and all these others, very strong women. And it has to go back to his childhood when he was abandoned by his father, left with a woman, and then every other every other parental figure he had on the male side was either a pervert, a sex drug addict, or some wacko nut job. The only stability he ever found in his life was through the women in his life, and that's the reason he has an affinity towards that.
Absolutely, because he was born August 4th, 1961, and his mother, who was a whack job communist,
Right.
she was divorced from Barack Hussein Obama Sr. a year or two later.
Right.
So by 2 years old, it's the mother and him, and the mother was a party animal.
Right.
You know, very involved in Hawaii, a couple of different state schools, but in Hawaii, party animal, hanging out with all the communists, studying Russia. She studied the Russian language.
Right.
And she was the typical 60s kind of hippie, leftist, socialist. Marxism's just ideologically wonderful. So Obama leaves her, and she goes to Jakarta, Indonesia.
Right.
And wants to go study there and gets involved in some work and marries Lolo Salito, meets Lolo Salito, marries him. So by 6 years old, President Obama has another father. He had a father from Kenya who was a Muslim. Now he has a stepfather from Indonesia, from Jakarta, who's a Muslim.
Right.
And they stick him in Catholic school for a little while.
Right.
And then into Muslim school. So by 6, 7 years old,
He's a mess.
He's got a communist mother, communist father. Remember,
Right.
we did a show on his first father. What he thought the tax rate should be.
Right. 100%.
100%.
And actually, if you read his father's plan, it's almost identical to his plan. We actually had a show on that once. We actually read
We did a show on President Obama's father wrote a paper when he was in college.
Right.
Oh, no, he was actually at a financial economic advisor, I think, for Kenya, and he was arguing that the governmental tax rate should be 100%.
Yeah.
Well, you go, what does that mean? All the money you earn goes to the government, and then the government provides the services that the government believes you need in life.
Now, this is not some. This is a serious
His father
intellectual
was an economist.
Yeah,
you
this
know?
is a serious intellectual paper.
Yep.
Now, also, I want to go right during that period, as long as you're there, is we do know that Obama was a Muslim at that time. Understanding that fact, forward till today, when he starts talking about Muslims, I believe that, and this is just my personal opinion, I believe that he is somehow imagining his childhood as him being a Muslim as a youth, and that's, to him, in his head, is what a Muslim is, and there's nothing in the world that's ever going to change that. And if you try to say Islam is a radical theology or a belief system, there is no way that's ever going to penetrate his veneer of what he believes. And I believe also that is why he lives in his la-la land today about ISIS, and like it's no threat, like it's no problem, no big deal. You guys are worried about nothing.
And that's some of what he said this past week regarding the elevated media hype in regard to all of this terrorism stuff. Yeah, it's a very important point, and the folks need to understand this. And where we're going 24 minutes after 4 o'clock here on Tuesday. It's Tuesday the 10th. Hey, what is that thing over there?
That's you.
I got me over there. I got me over here. This is pretty cool.
You got me,
you know?
and you'll
Except
be able.
I'm freezing.
You're gonna be able to walk around. If you actually put some pants on, you could probably get up and walk around.
Show a little leg. I can, huh? Oh, see what happened? It is this thing right here.
It is. Oh, it's at the bottom.
Okay. That's a very important point. And where we're going at 25 minutes after 4, our big idea today, again, take this home with you. This president has 635 days left until the next election. That's on the second Tuesday in November 2016. 635 days from today. A new president will be elected 635 days from today.
Well, Hillary,
That
obviously.
could be. Then there's 100 days or so until the turning over of the crown on Inauguration Day, 20 January 2017. So this particular president has over 700 days of destructive capability left in him to shred the Constitution even more. We're arguing today that President Obama is an ideological enemy of the state and needs to be neutralized politically in his policies and his belief systems and in his efforts to implement radical change through executive order. How is this done? It's done by a reinvigorated legislature with new conservative Republicans in there not taking this nonsense anymore. It's stopped by
Tom,
people
don't get me
in
depressed. Don't get me depressed again, please.
It's stopped
come on.
by the street, the patriotic street, rising up and protesting if necessary. We cannot allow an unfettered individual like this, and we're going to show you what like this means. But if you got to leave right now, if you got to get out of your automobile, we need you to watch this show every single day. We're going to give you the tools to defeat President Obama's socialistic, neo-Marxist views in America. It's important to do that. And let's start at the Muslim Brotherhood. Whoa.
You want to go to the prayer breakfast, or you want to go
pen
in,
exploded.
or yesterday on Fox? Which one?
No. We're going to start with the first item in the script. Muslim Brotherhood comes to the White House.
Okay.
All right, now to update everybody a little bit, and we're in a new facility. We don't have a new studio yet, but here we go. See how that sounds? But we do have freezing legs on Tom Trento because.
Well, you complain every
I'm
day.
not gonna
I'm hot.
complain.
You're hot. You're hot. You're hot. You're sweating. You're sweating. So I tried to take it down to a level which would make you comfortable.
I am not going to complain because for 3 years in the other studio, we lived in a box, and the lights gave me a tan. I'm not this dark normally. I'm very white. I'm not a dark Italian guy. The lights melted me, and we didn't have an air conditioner. We had to shut it off because it made too much noise. Now we have central air.
It is 72 degrees in here. I just turned it up to 74 because of your little delicate little legs.
I got my little shorts on. But I'm not going to complain because I remember all those times saying, oh, God, why am I in a hot studio like this with no air conditioning? Now, God granted his favor. We're in one. I'm not going to complain. I'm not that kind of person. All right. The kind of person I am is one who will honestly tell you what's going on with the Muslim Brotherhood and President Obama. Now, this is bizarre, and analysts like ourselves, and here on Enemies of the State, sometimes we go, what the heck is this guy doing? He's an advocate and an apologist for the Muslim Brotherhood. An advocate means an individual who supports. An apologist is not. Most people think the word apologist means to apologize. It doesn't. It means to defend, apologia from the Greek. The classic definition of apologist is a defense attorney like F. Lee Bailey. Imagine the best defense attorney you could. That would be an apologist for whatever ideology you're pushing. I happen to be trained as a Christian apologist. I argue and debate that Christianity makes more sense than any other religious system based upon the canons of logic, based upon the fit of the facts, the coherence of the systems, the existential viability. All other 3,000 religions in the world, they can't all be right. They could all be wrong. They could all be right. I argue that Christianity answers the big questions most effectively. I, therefore, am an apologist for Christianity. Conversely, our president is an apologist, a defender of Islam. We know that for a fact. There's two schools of Islam, primarily, the Shia and the Sunni. The Shia are Iran, and the Sunnis are Saudi Arabia. He has aligned himself historically with which side, Mark?
I'm looking up stuff. I'm not listening to you.
There's one guy back there, he doesn't even listen to me. I got an audience of one person, and he doesn't listen. How about you, Barack? what's going on. You with me with this or what? President Obama has aligned himself. Remember, early on, first year, 2009, he goes and bows and kisses the
No,
the
he's
hand.
apologist for Islam, obviously.
Well, but for the Sunni side.
Sunni side, yes,
he
definitely.
supported the Saudis.
Well, I don't know. Lately, he's been apologizing.
My point. That's my point, but you
Yeah.
weren't listening to what
Oh,
I'm
okay,
saying.
okay.
My point is that in his early reign, first couple of years, he was an apologist for the Sunni side of Islam, the Saudis. Now, he's jumped off the weak horse. It's coming to me right now. I have an epiphany at 31 minutes after 4
A
o'clock.
sudden realization right now?
Really, because we have been wondering, why has he been abandoning the Saudis at least and aligning himself with Iran,
Right.
but he's still aligning himself with the Brotherhood. So he's got, you know what he's doing? He's keep putting, it's what you do when you got a lot of money and you want to buy influence in Washington.
Right.
You write checks to what parties?
Oh, yeah. For both
Both of them.
Both
you
of
write
them.
the Democrats, here's $100 grand.
Well, also,
you write the Republicans, here's $100 grand.
I'm just having a sudden realization, too.
What's that?
Is his male half is actually aligning himself with the Sunnis, but the other half of it, Valerie
Oh, his
Jarrett,
feminine
is
side.
by his
Interesting.
strong feminine influencing his life, says, no, Barack, the Sunnis aren't that bad. You got to let them in. You got to let them in. You got
The
to have
Shia
the bomb.
aren't that bad. The Shia aren't that bad.
That's not what I said, did I?
Shia
Shia.
says Sunnis. Yeah.
The Shia aren't that bad. Let them in. And that's coming directly from Valerie Jarrett.
This is very, very interesting because we see a paradigm shift here. Second big idea for today, or is it the third? Third big idea for today, paradigm shift occurring in President Obama's national security epistemology. There's a good word for you. Epistemology, his framework of knowledge, the way he thinks, epistemology. And in that framework of how he thinks, there's a paradigm shift. Historically, from 2009, from his inauguration, January 20th, up until about a year ago, hardcore Sunni apologist, hardcore Saudi Arabia. As he got into the negotiations to stop Iran from having a nuclear bomb, we started to see that the Iranians, who are far superior, they've been doing it for 3,000 years, negotiators, than a guy from Kenya or Hawaii, wherever he's from, who was pushed through school in a pseudo-academic format, carried in his political career through Chicago, put together like a Manchurian candidate by Valerie Jarrett and others to get into
Right.
the state Senate in Illinois, then stumbled into the U.S. Senate, and then gloriously in 2004 appears at the Democratic National Convention and has that glowing speech, and everybody says, oh my word, who is this? And there he is today, 10 years later. Amazing how that has happened.
Right.
Paradigm shift occurred because when you have no foundational Weltanschauung that's rooted in granite, when you have a worldview that's built upon sand and shifts around as his is, then you're looking for the best bet in town, shifting the metaphor. You're looking for the strongest horse in town. And right now, anybody out there listening to me or watching, what horse is stronger, Saudi Arabia or Iran right now on the world stage for Islam?
Saudi Arabia with the oil and Iran with the weapons and might, and because they're getting a nuclear bomb. And they're going to take away Saudi Arabia's oil, which will weaken them in the world.
There is no question, ladies and gentlemen, but that Iran, and this is really bizarre, Iran, who the world is saying is the bad guy right now, who has a president that used to go to the UN and say, we've got to get rid of Bush, we've got to get rid of Jews, we've got to annihilate Israel. I mean, this is Iran. There's no question they have world dominance in the Islamic world. They are being viewed, even though Sunni Muslims hate them, they are the strong horse. They've gotten behind Hezbollah. They've gotten behind Hamas. They are outmaneuvering and negotiating the world when it comes to shutting down centrifuges, enriching uranium, having a plutonium facility in Iran. They're heads above the Saudis. So Obama is now shifting, and it's going to be an interesting study in human dynamics. He has said historically and categorically over the past several years, Iran will not get a bomb. We will prevent them from getting it, not contain them. Well, we're only weeks away from whether or not the decisions the Obama administration is going to finalize with Iran by the 31st of November. March. We will be in Israel when this comes down. Yes. Whether or not sufficient negotiations will stop Iran from having the bomb. And everybody's arguing that we know on our side that Obama is going to allow them to have the capability to build in a very short window, which is why the paradigm shift is occurring to Iran over Saudi Arabia. Frightening. All right. Wow. Now here's the confusing thing. What do you got, Mark? And then I'm going to go into the Muslim Brotherhood here.
No. I have the tapes queued up for you. That's all.
Okay. Now, this guy's complex and confusing, so we're going to put pieces together, and over the next 2 days, we'll draw the current national security analysis. If we had to do a character study of the president today, because the guy changes like a chameleon changes in terms of who he favors and which direction he wants to go, and a lot of that is depending upon what advisors he has in the administration. But as we just said, the paradigm shift includes a nod toward Iran. But he just recently entertained about 12 Muslim Brotherhood leaders in the White House, so he's still very, very big on the Muslim Brotherhood. Now, this was at Breitbart, one of our national security partners, where we put a lot of our work up on their site. And Jordan Schachtel wrote this. Remember Jordan, the young writer, was doing work for us in Israel during Operation Protective Edge? He wrote an excellent article. I want to recommend it to everybody. He writes, the White House has finally released the names of the 14 Muslim leaders who met with the president last week. Among the group, which include a Muslim comedian.
Oh, stop. The picture we have up there. Look at that picture. If you can't see it, obviously on radio, but the person sitting to the right-hand side of Obama at the prayer breakfast is none other than...
Well, no. What I see the president, and then I see Barack Obama.
Yes, you're right. You're right. President Valerie next to...
I see President Valerie Jarrett on the left, and then Barack Obama on the right. Look at her looking at him.
Yep. And she has that adore, and then going back to what we said 15, 20 minutes ago was that he has to have these strong women. And one thing I did not mention, which I should have, strong women who idolize him and worship him and tell him he's great. That's the type of women, the construct that has to be around Barack Obama, is that overpowering, domineering, over-complimenting woman. And that's typical. Oh, and by the way, that is the typical structure that is in the Islamic hierarchy, is you have these strong women who are the head of the family, who need to be taken care of and be served and loved, who worship their firstborn as the Messiah,
you know.
And that's what happens with Barack. I'm sorry I diverted on that, but
what we want to drill down deeply and establish for all our viewers and listeners, because we have 635 days from today for the next general election, very, very critical, then another 100 days of Obama. It is essential because this team of Valerie Jarrett, the president, and Barack Obama, the make-believe president, this team is intent and focused and challenged with leaving their mark in Western civilization. They know with a couple of shrewd moves, they can leave their mark for decades and decades. we, the good Americans, the good patriots who view this administration as enemies ideologically, we need to stop them. We're establishing the importance of this by showing the confused state the president is in, and he needs these very strong women. There's nothing wrong with a strong woman, but when you put a strong woman with an insecure, weak president, you got a recipe for disaster.
With a corrupt moral belief.
Yep.
And that's the big thing, is because once you have that corrupting moral belief, like, for example, the Islamic structure, one of the biggest insults that you can give to an Islamic man is to say what the truth is, which is you are nothing more than a spoiled mama's boy. And that's the reason you throw temper tantrums and go out on the world and have to blame everybody for everything, just like a spoiled 2-year-old does. When you have that ideology, that system drilled inside your head, and you become that spoiled person and you act like a brat and nobody pays attention to you, you just go stomping around and go off into your own little world. Exactly the mentality of our president.
And how many times have we seen that in all of our confrontations with Muslim Brotherhood groups, whether they're on campuses or outside, same sort of behavior. Listen to what Jordan Schachtel writes. He says, in this group of 14, there was a comedian, a Muslim comedian. How does that work? That's another subject. Along with a hijab-wearing basketball player. That must be a lot of fun. A handful of left-wing activists. And among them were a select few individuals disturbingly close to ties with the global Muslim Brotherhood. I'll go so far as to, I changed that. I would tell Jordan, not disturbingly close ties, with complete ties to the global Muslim Brotherhood. As we know, these folks are deeply embedded with the Brotherhood. As previously uncovered by Breitbart News, the White House confirmed that Azar Aziz, A-Z-H-A-R, Azar Aziz, A-Z-E-E-Z, he's the president of ISNA, Islamic Society of North America. Now, if you follow the United West, if you follow our work here, you know that ISNA, Islamic Society of North America, is one bad terrorist organization.
What's the head of the snake? It's the head. It's the one above CARE. It's the one that does all the organizational properties. They also control NATE, the North American Islamic Trust, and the IIIT, the International Institute of Islamic Thought, and all the other ones down below. ISNA is the top of the pyramid, if you will.
Yep. And in fact, when it was formed years ago, it was going to be the umbrella organization that coalesced all the Muslim Brotherhood entities in the United States, and there's literally hundreds of them. So ISNA is, as Mark just said, the head of the snake, and the snake has poisonous venom throughout its complete body. And if it bites you, you die. That's the way it works,
yes.
At least according to the Department of Justice, to the Eric Holder Department of Justice.
Yes.
Because it was on Eric Holder's watch that ISNA, Islamic Society of North America, has been designated in a trial. There was a trial in 2007 and 8 where the United States government, the Department of Justice, within which resides the Federal Bureau of Investigation, they had about a 10-year investigation going on of a charity in Texas called a charity for, where are we going on March 21st?
Up to Washington, D.C.
No, March 21st.
Israel.
Israel. To what land is it called?
Palestine.
Holy or unholy? We're going to the Holy Land.
Holy Land Foundation trial.
We're going to the Holy Land on March 21st. And about 10 years ago, some folks in Texas said, let's have a charity for the Holy Land.
Right.
Okay? It's a holy land for everybody.
Founded by Musa Abu Marzouk, who is the head of Hamas today. Okay.
So 10 years ago, actually it was probably more than that, about 15 years ago, Musa Abu Marzouk got a bunch of his friends together and said, let's have a charity for the Holy Land, raise some money, and we'll go there and, we'll preach about Jesus. No, not
Right.
quite. We'll preach about Abraham. No, not
Right,
quite.
right.
We'll buy weapons for Hamas to kill Jews. How about that?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it. That's it. That's
So
it.
they formed a charity called the Holy Land. They called it the Holy Land Foundation. They raised money, sent it to Hamas to buy weapons to kill Jews. That's what they did.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what they got convicted for.
That's what they got convicted for. And the ones who got convicted, the 5 defendants, are in jail right now.
65 years and plus.
They were conspirators. They were indicted conspirators, and they were put on trial, and they're in jail. Now, when you do a big,
In fact, all these guys right here behind you, Tom.
oh, we got them up there. There they are, right there, the guys.
We'll just make them large here so everybody can see it.
El
All
Barassi,
these guys right here.
all part of the little charity in Richardson, Texas, called the Holy Land Foundation, that the FBI and other federal agencies took a peek at for about 10 years, accumulated the evidence, had a series of trials, convicted 5. But when you throw a net this broadly and you scoop up a lot, you get the people you want. Then you get a lot of other people that are very, very interesting, and for whatever reasons, and not necessarily as the Muslim world will want you to believe, well, if these were really bad guys, they would be indicted. They're unindicted co-conspirators. First of all, look at the concept of a co-conspirator. They were conspiring together with the guys who are in jail to do something nefarious and illegal, okay? We know that because they're co-conspirators. The government just said, do we indict them or do we not indict them? And the government said for some of these, we're not going to indict them. Because once we indict them,
The clock ticks.
they get this thing called due process. And then they get rights. They get constitutional rights that as long as they are unindicted, we can keep our eyes on them. We can keep our ears on them. As long as we get warrants, as long as we get a warrant from a judge for probable cause, we can get inside the heads of all these people.
And
that's what happens.
And the reason they made them unindicted co-conspirators was because all those dirtbags who are head of the Holy Land Foundation trial, who are serving 65 years and 20 years and 65 years, 11 years, all those guys behind Tom right now.
There they are, right
on the
behind
screen. All were the founding members of CARE.
Oh, the Council on American Islamic Relations.
They were in the
Oh, my word, how that all comes together.
how that all comes together. And also, they are advisors on ISNA boards and everything else. And it comes right
Did
down.
you say ISNA, Islamic Society
Islamic
of North
Society
America?
North America.
You mean,
No,
you
we
mean
come
the
back-
organization that met with President Obama last week?
Yes.
Are they an unindicted co-conspirator?
Yes, they are.
So
Just the same way as CARE is, because you know what? Their organization is founded by all Muslim dirtbags.
so let me get this right.
I'm sorry, I misspoke.
You digress. Okay.
No, Muslim terrorist.
Oh, okay.
Physical, global terrorists. They're founded by global terrorists.
All right,
Designated by Bill Clinton.
So the Islamic Society of North America stands today as an organization that the federal government says has dirty hands. And as a president of an organization that has dirty hands, according to the President Obama's Department of Justice. Yet President Obama brings the president of that organization inside. Mr. Aziz brings him into the White House to get advice on how to fight the global jihad from the Muslim Brotherhood. How good do you think that advice is going to be?
Well, probably about the same as the great advice and glowing evidence, the speech he gave to President Obama, on ISNA on their 50-year celebration, if you remember that one. I'm trying to find that for you right now.
Yeah, I remember that one. But let's do this, because there are several items that I want to cover today at 50 minutes after 4 o'clock on the East Coast. Wherever you are, it's 50 minutes after the top of your hour. Tom Trento here, WSBR Radio, WSBR 740 AM on your dial. Please download the application iHeartRadio on your smartphones. Go to the search bar, WSBR 740 AM, Boca Raton, Florida. It'll pop right up. Click it, lock it in every day, 4 o'clock East Coast time. Hit that little button. We will come to you live wherever you have an internet connection. It's amazing, the technology today. Let's show a little bit of the clip of the president speaking at the prayer breakfast. I think it's the next one queued up there. I'll tell you exactly. Yep. And I want to play this and draw particular attention to a couple of words that the president highlights. Whenever you're ready, we can do that.
Okay, hold on a second.
The one that says prayer breakfast.
Yep, I got it. All right.
Actually following a script in our new place.
I know, but trying to throw some curveballs here.
I know.
Yeah, hold on a second. But anyway, keep doing a little bit more fill here because it's the one with the prayer breakfast dispute, right? Yeah.
Prayer breakfast, it's the one other map.
If you're going to start this debate, it's better not to do it with 1 or 2 sentences.
Well, it's interesting. So Jay Michelson of the
This is good.
Religious
This one's
Service
good.
wrote this analysis. And I want to read it to you because I wonder if the president had said it this way, if there'd be less debate. He said, the other narrative is that all people, all creeds, all nations contain elements of moderation and extremism. Thankfully, racist Christian extremists are today a tiny minority within American Christianity. But only 100 years ago, they were as popular among American Christians as the Islamic State is among Muslims today. Thus, in the battle against Islamic extremism, it is extremism that is the enemy. Christians should not be insulted by the facts of history. Rather, all of us should be inspired by them to recognize the dangers of extremism wherever they lie. Had the president explained it that way, is there no furor?
There's probably less furor. My question is why he felt compelled to bring this up at all.
I have my own theory. He's not a big fan of the prayer breakfast, I think. And I think
Why is it cutting out?
he almost enjoys creating a rhetorical debate.
Yes.
Okay,
And
keep going.
so he brings up unquestionably the sins of Christianity, which are many. And
You hear it?
part of the drama of religion is trying to live up to an ideal, but knowing that on this side of paradise, we're always going to fall short. And so I do think that when you're talking about politics, when you're talking about civilizational shifts, which is what is going on here, the lesson out of Christianity, to my mind, is that Christianity managed to reform itself through the years. Dark chapters, but ultimately working toward the light. And the hope here is that Islam itself will find its own reformation and push forward.
Did you find the extreme pushback of the president? Because there's been some, almost as if, the part of this criticism all goes because they believe that the Obama administration doesn't acknowledge the religious aspect of this.
Sure.
And that, and then some Obama folks will push back and said, too many people on the right want a religious war, and that plays into ISIS' hands.
Right. This was it was not quite seasonal yet, but it was a hanging curveball for the right, unquestionably. The president brings up the sins of Christianity at a moment when the airwaves are full of the extremism of the Islamic world and the perversions of that. The president, I think, to some extent, missed an opportunity here because
a very, very, very interesting interchange. Chuck Todd and I didn't catch the other guys.
It's
he's one of the analysts.
yeah. What's his face?
But what Chuck Todd said was very interesting. He had a theory. President Obama doesn't like prayer breakfasts. That was the theory he put out, which made him uncomfortable in terms of speaking at the prayer breakfast. So if you can show the tape from the prayer breakfast, I want to show that moment where he's extremely uncomfortable, where he makes this controversial statement that they're talking about, which is that Christianity was very much like, the Islamic State extremism back during the Inquisition and the Crusades. It's the next one down at...
all right, you have to let me pull it back up because I don't have that one.
You don't have that one. Right at 35:50. All right, while you're looking for that, let me get everybody up to speed here 55 minutes after. Just a couple of minutes left. Our big idea today is that the this president has failed on several issues. One, analyzing the seriousness of the Islamic threat in front of us. Number two, not being able to recognize the Islamic element of the threat in front of us. And number three, being in a position to have tremendous influence over the next 635 plus 100, 735 days, which could create a lot of problems for a lot of good people out there. So that's where we're going with all of this. And are we ready for the
No.
next little piece of video?
We're going to skip past that one and go right to the next one, which is his theory on ISIS and not being attacked on.
All right, so put it up. Yeah, that's a good one. We'll show that, and I'll fit that right in.
Well, I can actually got you the one here that's his 1 minute ISIS speech on 50th anniversary. That says about as good as the prayer breakfast thing, too.
All right, good. Let's see that one. And here we go.
There we go. No audio on this for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with the audio.
That's the new studio stuff.
Yeah,
No
it's all
big
my
deal.
fault. Allmyfault.com.
Well, let me tell the folks about this. Here's what's important, too. We have a very interesting development taking place right now with a group that we have a lot of experience with around the country, the group Anonymous. If you remember them, they wear the Guy Fawkes mask from the movie V. What was the movie? Anybody remember the movie?
Yeah, V for Vendetta, was it? Or is that?
V for Vendetta, yeah.
Right.
That was the name of the movie. Guy Fawkes, one of the characters. That's the mask that was worn. It's become the symbol of Anonymous. And Anonymous is an anarchist hodgepodge group of pseudo-intellectuals who focus on the ability to hack computers, among other things. I mean, we've run into so many of them. Some of them are just total nitwits. But some of them are brilliant computer hackers. And what they've done here, I think they realize that their cause, they lined up with occupation, they line up with all these losing causes. So it looks like they're trying to line up and get something in the win column. They now have declared war on guess who?
ISIS.
The anarchist group Anonymous has declared war on ISIS. And here's what they say. Anonymous, we have declared war against Islamic extremists. They said in a YouTube video that they will track down the ISIS. If you remember, ISIS is an acronym, Islamic State of Iraq, ISI, Islamic State of Iraq, and Syria, ISIS. President Obama calls it ISIL, Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. We call it what it is, the Islamic State. That's what they call themselves. But Anonymous said, we will track down your websites and your social media networks, and we will take them down. They put that video out just a couple of days ago. And as of today, they have taken down, listen to this, Anonymous has taken down 800 Twitter accounts for people involved in the Islamic State. That's pretty amazing to find these Twitter accounts because
You're right.
it's not like they got to go dig in 800 different places. They got to dig 2 or 3 places, the main guys, and then they just follow where these guys go, and they knock out all the people following the leaders. They also knocked out 12 key Facebook pages and over 50 email addresses of people from the Islamic State. Now, the Islamic State happens to have some pretty good computer capable people on their side, so it's going to be interesting to see if this battle only stays in cyberspace or if the Islamic State hackers pull out the long knives and hack off Anonymous's masks. We're going to see if that happens. Stay tuned. Tomorrow, we'll let you know all about that.
Are we going offline now?
We're done.
Are we
Goodbye,
done,
everybody.
Because I got painters painting over my head doing the show here.
I got paint fumes in here. And I want to eat the rest of my sandwich, and we're overdue. Goodbye. See you tomorrow.
All right, bye.